In today's episode, Deborah asks, can AI write as well as a human? Well, the answer is it depends on what the human is writing. Language generation models, natural language generation models, like OpenAI's GPT series of models, or the T5 transformers from Google, can write reasonably well in a very general sense, but the more specific the task, the better they get. The more guidance you give them and more guardrails you put on them, the better they get. Something like a complex original work, like, say, a novel. The answer is no. Machines cannot write as well as a human, not without an extraordinary amount of training and resources, to the point where it's not cost efficient. You'd be better off hiring a novelist to write a novel than you would be to try and train a machine. Even if the machine could generate, 1,000 pulp novels, the amount of editing time and QA that would have to go into it would effectively negate any gains you got out of it. Now, if it's marketing swill, the answer is yes. And the reason for that is a lot of what we write in marketing is junk, right? It's not very good quality content. It's pretty appallingly bad content. And it's easy for machines to replicate crap. Think about a bell curve, right? On one end, you have low quality content. On another end, you have high quality content. And in the middle is a bunch of mediocre stuff. As machines evolve, they can replicate total garbage, right? Because that's pretty easy. And then they start to iterate and get slightly better. And now they're kind of at the mediocre phase, right? They can write mediocre marketing swill. Can they write good quality copy or great quality copy? Not really. Not without, again, a lot of training, to the point where it is not cost efficient to do that, unless you're a company that is dedicated to doing that. But if you were to look at the metrics, in fact, let's do this. Let's bring this up here. What we're looking at here is 4 sets of readability scores for a lot of marketing copy. So this is articles, blog posts, press releases. Essentially, it is content marketing stuff, right? And not very good. And this is 130,000 of these that we have stored in the Trust Insights database. We have 4 quadrants. We have the jargon score, which is the SMOG score, simple measure of gobbledygook. We have the Flesch-Kincaid readability index. We have the Coleman-Liao index, and the Flesch-Kincaid grade level. What you notice here is that there is a definite skew towards the right side for 3 of the graphs, and sort of a bell curve in the middle. So let's walk through these briefly. The jargon score, lower is better, right? So you want that content to be easier to read than harder to read. And in this case, there's a very definite kurtosis, or lean, towards the harder to read side. It means that our content is full of jargon, and a lot of it. On readability, the readability score, 100 is great, 0 is bad. And we see a bell curve there in the middle. 50, 55, 60 is where most content is. So it's mediocre content, right? There's very, very, very little on the far side here of the readability index that says, yeah, you got great content. Very thin. On Coleman-Liao, again, this is similar to grade level. You can see there's a tremendous amount of very difficult to read content on the far right-hand side, and then a whole absent field. And then on the Flesch-Kincaid grade level, we see that marketing content is around 9th to 11th grade content because of the jargon, because of the amount of stuff that we put in our copy that is difficult to read, that is extensively polysyllabic, which means that we use real big words. Think about the list of corporate buzzwords that we love to use. And you can see that reflected here in this data, that this data very clearly shows we love our fancy, complicated language. When you have language like that, when you have buzzword bingo, you have templates, and an awful lot of things like, basic blog posts are very templated. When you have press releases, announcements, they all follow copy that is so formulaic that is very easy for machines to replicate and probably do a better job than the majority of humans, because when these natural language generation models are trained on language, they're not trained on just one specific domain. They're trained on as much language as possible. The most recent version of GPT-3 was trained on something like 175 billion parameters, which is a massive, massive, massive amount of text. It's basically the bulk of the readable text in English online. That means that when these machines go to generate language, they will naturally use more vocabulary, a little bit more lexical diversity is the technical term, than a human would, because in a lot of cases, humans will just copy and paste the last thing they did. I used to work at a public relations agency, and I would literally watch, junior associates just copy and paste from one press release to the next, change the name and the of the company and the name of the CEO, but effectively they all say the same thing. The chief executive says, we're so excited or proud or pleased to release our new version, whatever, and we're a flexible, scalable, industry-leading, agile. Can a machine replicate that? 100%. 100% a machine can replicate that and do better than the humans do. So can AI write as well as a human? It depends on the context. But for sure, machines can now write at, I would say, the mediocre level. Right? They've got bad down. They've got meh down. They've got they're getting mediocre down now. As each model improves, as the technology improves, they will eventually get down good writing, right? And for those companies that have the strongest infrastructure and the greatest level of resources, some will get great writing down. What does that mean for you as a marketing practitioner? It means that you've got to be improving your skills. If you are on the bad side of writing, you probably need to stop writing for marketing and look at a different profession, because the machines can already crank out swill better than you can. If you're in the meh to mediocre, you better up-level those skills. Take some courses, do some writing workshops, do anything, whatever you can do that will improve your skills and get them to good, right? If you're a good writer, keep working to become a great writer. But whatever you do, you cannot stay static. You cannot just rest on your laurels at wherever you are in this continuum, because the machines are advancing faster than we are collectively. Will there come a day when you push a button and a machine spits out a novel? Probably. We're already seeing prototype examples of this with GPT-3, the OpenAI model. Is it good yet? No. But it definitely shows what is possible. What is theoretically possible, and what is possible today is easily achievable in 5 to 10 years, maybe less, depending on how fast compute power goes up. So that's the answer to this question. AI can write as well as humans who are bad at their job. AI can write as well as humans who are mediocre at their job, and AI will eventually write as well as humans who are good at their job. So your job as a human is to become great at writing, so that you stay ahead of the machines. If you have follow-up questions, leave them in the comments box below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Want help solving your company's data, analytics, and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.